I'm so glad that you brought that up, because that's been a big topic, even in my own mind lately, the concept of failing. And somebody said yesterday that we teach our kids it's either you succeed or you fail, and that failure is this terrible thing. And the truth of the matter is failure is what you have to do on your way to success. And if you don't fail, you're not going to succeed. I mean, it's part of the learning lesson. So I actually went home yesterday after hearing this, and I made this conscious effort to start to teach my children about the importance and the triumphs of failure. Do you have one particular that you don't mind sharing with the world? One lesson of failure that maybe is a great example of
Gosh, which one of a bunch? I've got a bunch of them. First, look, I think to talk about it's always a story in our head, right? To take a step back, and we all deal with it. I deal with it. I know for many years, when I was going through tough times, it was always the story in my head. What were people going to think? What would they think if I failed? If I didn't succeed, how would people view me? And I battle with it still today, right? I mean, I make decisions based off the story in my head. Now I just try to be aware of the fact that it is only the story in my head. No one else is thinking about me or worried about my failures or going to sit around and laugh or ridicule. They're not thinking about me, they're thinking about them, and that's what they should be thinking about. And all I have to do is change the story in my head. Right? Change the story, change the outcome. And so now I tell myself a different story when I have the self-doubt and the self-talk and the negative talk and that fear that I have to overcome. I've got a couple of them. I owned a roofing company when I was 19 years old. Yeah,
that's tough off the bat.
Well, and as a 19-year-old, I grew up in a little town, Louisiana. My parents, amazing parents, middle class. We always had enough. We didn't have abundance, but we always had enough. At 19, I started making $30,000 a month, and boy, I thought I was rich.
Well, that's big money at 19.
This is like 25 years ago, so back then it was a whole lot of money. And the Bible says a fool and his money will soon part, and it parted really fast because I got a big head, and I let success get to me, and then I became complacent and I became lazy, where I didn't want to go pick up checks that people had for me. And I woke up one morning, I had enough money to pay my rent. And 20 years old, I didn't want to phone home, I didn't want to move back home. Failure wasn't an option then, right? I'd burned the ships, and so I had to swallow my pride, right? Here I was, this entrepreneur that had to go back to what I knew, which was bartending, and go get a bartending job. And again, that was the story in my head. I had to swallow my pride and wonder what people were going to say and go do, because that's what I had to do. And that taught me a lesson of I was never going to let that happen again. I was never going to wake up wondering how I was going to pay my rent, how I was going to pay my car payment. And so I went out and I got a bar job, and then a couple months later I had 2 bar jobs, and then a couple months later I was working 3 jobs. I was working like 85 hours a week. I didn't have time to spend money.
Right.
And so, it was a good lesson to just get back up and
keep going.
Change the story in our head.
Yeah. So you mentioned about, growing up, and obviously you have really great parents. They definitely instilled some great values in you. Were either of your parents an entrepreneur? What brought you to this decision to become an entrepreneur, especially so young?
Yeah, neither one of them were entrepreneurs per se. My mom had an entrepreneurial flair and entrepreneurial spirit, but both of them, worked jobs. My mom started a business, but she started for somebody else. And, they were both very dedicated. I mean, my dad was with the same company for 30-something years. My mom was with that company for 20-something years before she retired. But what they did instill in me was, if it's to be, it's up to me, right? To teach me to take ownership. And they did always incentivize me in that entrepreneurial. I mean, since I was 4 or 5, I had that entrepreneurial bug. And they would always do things like, if I wanted something, they would say, great, if you want a TV, we'll pay for half. And then inspire me to find the way to go figure out how to earn half. And then they would match it. They would match savings with me. They would always do things to push me down that path. and then reward me for that activity. So I think that's where I got the bug, and then they rewarded me and helped to light the fire, so to speak.
Yeah, they saw something in you. It sounds like they gave you enough to support you. They didn't say you're on your own, totally.
Yeah,
but
no.
Here, we're going to give you this, but put some skin in the game. And get your own skin in the game, and then together,
It was the greatest gift. I mean, instead of giving a man a fish, they taught me how to fish. But if I caught one, they'd give me another.
I love that. It's that I support you mentality, but I still expect you
if you
to
support yourself, if you take one step, we'll take 2 steps, right? But
I'm going to take that with me.
yeah, nice.
That's going to come into my parenting. That's a really, really important lesson. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
It's that element of I support you, but you got to support yourself too, and together makes a team.
I'm doing it with my nieces and nephews.
I love that.
I have college savings for all of them. I do a bunch of stuff because we don't have kids, and so it's like with my niece, you get a student loan, you get your help, grants, and then when you complete, I'll pay it off. But you're going to get the student loan. You're going to take the debt. You're going to have to take the risk because $20,000 a year. It's like I want her to have commitment.
Absolutely.
And then we'll reward her.
Yeah, and you don't really learn if you're not involved.
It's a different energy. If you have no skin in the game, it's a different energy. If you decide to quit, like, who cares? But.
So you use the term social entrepreneurship, which is really such a beautiful marriage of words, right? What turned the faucet on for that? I mean, what inspired you to make it about the social element and not just become just the standard entrepreneur about capitalism and money?
Yeah, look, there are different types of businesses. There are types of businesses that they are only there to enhance and enrich shareholder value or shareholder equity, and there are businesses that want to enrich the lives of others.
Yeah.
I've always owned businesses that it was important for me to give back to my team and to my employees and to enrich their lives, whether it be life principles and compensation and all types of facets of how do we help sharpen one another and help lift each other up. Tom's Shoes, whenever we started Evolve, we started it down that Tom Shoes model 10 years ago. I was very fascinated with what Blake Makowski had started in social business and the blending of the two, being conscientious and having a cause, but doing it based off of consumption, right? It's not some nebulous at some profit level, we'll donate X and you don't know if they ever make profit and what kind of distributions they have. We wanted to do something that said, if you do this, we'll do this every single time. And it wound up becoming, it's probably, 5-6% of our top line revenue and contribution. So whether we make any money or not, we're going to contribute and we're going to have an impact. It's been amazing. We've been fortunate enough or blessed enough to impact 16 million kids so far, to feed 16 million kids. And my wife and I, right, to really go deep, right, to pull the layers of the onion back, been married almost 19 years. We've tried probably for 15 of those 19 years to get pregnant and have kids. And, we had multiple miscarriages. We did everything, artificial, we did in vitro, we did surrogacy. And it just wasn't in the cards for us, right? That wasn't the plan. It was really interesting. When we launched, we had a company that we acquired, and this gentleman, Sam Castor, come on with our other business, Evolve, and he really helped us to infuse social business in another level into Evolve Health, and he had been feeding children for decades. We had one product that we were launching, and we were gonna do the 1-for-1 on just that one product. And a couple of weeks in, we're at a board meeting, and really we realized that we were being disingenuous. If we really wanted to help eradicate malnutrition, if we really wanted to make an impact, we couldn't do it on one product. And then we couldn't go retrofit our products and our pricing to give. We just had to give. And so we changed our entire model right then and there and said, we're just gonna go 1-for-1 on everything and 100% go all in and trying to make an impact. And that was really impactful. I've had a couple of times that I felt like there was the word, and a couple days later I was in Minnesota. I was in the shower, and I just got this warm feeling and something in my heart that said, you know, I didn't give you a child because I'm going to give you the world's children. And you know, that really made sense to me, that this was my purpose, right? This was Stacy and I's purpose, and we were going to have an impact, and we were going to do something in this world that was bigger than just the two of us.
I mean, you know, you saying that is, well, first of all, thank you for sharing. That's a very personal story. And thank you to your wife for allowing you to share. You touch so many people when you do, because there are so many people that deal with infertility on different levels, and you know, those other people that just have kids and it seems like no big deal. But the truth of the matter is you've made a choice to create a legacy and to build a tribe of people, including me, who want to see you succeed for so many reasons. And so even if you fail moving forward, they're watching you to lift you back up. And you know, with that you create a movement, and you've done that already, and you're so young.
It's awesome. It's exciting
to have done that.
And we've got
amazing.
amazing people all across the country and across the world that have helped to be part of our vision and to help to further this. It's definitely life's work. And you know, the pregnancy piece, right? I mean, that's a fail forward kind of thing. That's a thing that we battled with forever. And that was a story in our head. Like, you know, we were failures if we weren't parents. And we made a decision like, okay, we're gonna be good. We're gonna be okay with our life, and we're gonna stop worrying about, you know, what we can't control, and let's worry about the things that we can control. And we've always wanted to travel. So we decided we're gonna travel. We're gonna do the things that we put off. Like, we're gonna actually be a little selfish now, because now the lens in which we view life is a little bit different. So the last couple of years, you know, we've been immersed in living our life and living our truth. And it's empowering, right? It really is. That, you know, the shaming and stuff where people would be like, hey, you don't have kids? You've been married how long? You don't have kids? Now it's like, yeah, we don't have kids. It's great. It wasn't part of our plan. I'm okay with it, and I'm proud of, like, we're just gonna do us and do our life, because everybody gets to choose, right? And choose whatever life that it is that they want, and I'm not gonna shame them, or I'm not gonna choose for them.
Right.
We made our decision, we made our choice, and we're moving forward.
You've also made a choice, and I've not had the pleasure yet of meeting your beautiful wife, who I'm hoping one day. Stacy, I want to meet you. But you've made a choice to stand as a couple. And you know, that says a lot about you as an individual. So this movement doesn't just start from, I'm going to live this way separately, and then I'm going to create this movement. You really live who you are. And I can only imagine how amazing your wife is.
Well, thank
I've
you.
heard she's amazing.
And the charitable part started with Stacy. You know, back when we first started trying to have kids, her and a couple of friends started a charity called Love for Children.
Wow.
And it was a 501(c)(3). That was 100% of the proceeds went to Children's Medical Center. They didn't take salaries, nothing. I mean, 100% of the proceeds went to things like bereavement and helping families that couldn't stay in a hotel. So for years, you know, they ran this charity, and I think raised, you know, well over $1 million. That's where our heart for it really began. And Michelle Frazier, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Fraziers. Their daughter was in a car accident a couple of years ago on Thanksgiving Day. Amazing, just couple and family. It's come full circle, because when they were in their car accident, she was at Children's, and now Michelle has carried the legacy forward in you know, in J-Fay's name, and J-Fay's part of this charity. She did an amazing job a couple of weeks ago in this foundation of this new charity as well. So, you know, you never know where things are going to lead, but you know, those three ladies definitely gave me the charitable bug and helped put it in my heart.
Yeah, well, it's strong in you now. It's strong. I think that people misalign, entrepreneurship as it being about the money. And the truth is that money comes and goes. We're never guaranteed that it's going to be there forever, even if we make it and make it big. It's still, it's money, and it, comes and goes. Hopefully you invest it right and it doesn't go, right? But the legacy piece and what we give back to this earth and how we leave this earth, that nobody can take away. And that's the power that we really have when we are entrepreneurs. So I love that social piece. I am going to take it and I'm going to do something with it after I leave here. I'm going to let you know. I don't know what it is yet, but
it's interesting.
But it's going to be something.
it's the most requested course right now in colleges. Millennials are very big, socially conscientious, and so I think it's it's here for good.
Yeah, it struck me even how political they are now. Like, there's political shows and these young college, just out of college kids, not kids, but kids.
Yeah.
Are really moved to make a difference. So, even if we might give them a hard time for being millennials, but there's some things they know that the world needs to know about, and they're going to bring some spirit back to this world that we're lacking.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.